Conservative urges Tim Scott to end presidential run to avoid national disgrace. Of a Trump nomination. Conservative Washington Post columnist George Will is urging U.S. Senator Tim Scott, RSC, to drop his presidential run, unite behind former Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and convince other Republican candidates to do the same, all in an effort to avoid the GOP nominating Donald Trump. There is national incredulity, exhaustion, embarrassment, disgust and fatalism about the political party's inability to generate palatable presidential choices, Will claims. With every passing day, the probability of a national disgrace, a Trump nomination, increases. And with it the probability of another disgrace, a Biden-Trump rematch, which might mean the probability of another Trump presidency. Senator Scott can acknowledge that his energetic campaigning has failed to enkindle sufficient enthusiasm and depart as he campaigned, cheerfully. Or he can try to become someone whom, to his credit, he has no aptitude for being, another peddler of synthetic anger, stoking today's rage culture. Read more. Ramping up his fascist re-education of Americans. Expert issues dire warning on Trump. Will claims that Nikki Haley would be heavily favored against the fast-fading President Biden. So, if her nomination becomes likely, Democratic panic might produce what Democratic prudence evidently will not. A 2024 ticket other than one joining someone no longer fit for the presidency with someone who never will be fit. If four or more of Trump's Republican rivals slog on, each hoping a strong Iowa showing will propel them to stronger ones in New Hampshire and South Carolina, they are all likely to finish with equally barren prospects, Will wrote. Tim Scott, by acting boldly, one might say precedentially, against a dismally predictable political dynamic, could give a grateful nation hope for the redemption of this shabby era. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than Will makes one important disclosure at the beginning of his column. The columnist's wife, Mari Will, an advisor to Republican presidential candidate Senator Tim Scott, SC, disagrees with this column. Scott is getting hit by columnists from both sides. MSNBC's Steve Bannon blasted Senator Scott's cheap and classless remarks blaming President Biden for the Hamas terrorists' attack on Israel as desperate pandering from a candidate who's polling just below 3% in his national campaign.